you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Secretary General Brown, Undersecretary McCord, the Senate passed is supplemental, and it includes funding for allies and partners in EUCOM, CENTCOM, and INDOPACOM, as well as much needed humanitarian assistance. Mr. Secretary, I'm going to ask a couple of questions together. Could you please let this committee know how our allies and partners are reacting to our delays in the enhancement of the supplemental? General Brown, please share with us your military assessment of the situation in Ukraine today and what it looks like for tomorrow. Mr. McCord, we know that the services are utilizing base funds to cover the cost of deployed personnel operating in EUCOM and CENTCOM. If we do not enact a supplemental, how will this impact the services FY24 base activities? So in general, why do we need to pass the supplemental right away? And is the United States losing stature in the world community? Thank you, gentlemen.
We will recess and have the disruption removed. Mr. Secretary, you're recognized.
Well, thank you, Chairman. Delaying the supplemental sends a terrible signal to our allies and partners, and they will question whether or not we are committed to this cause and whether or not we are a reliable partner. And we have, as you know, we have led every inch of the way in terms of making sure that security assistance is provided to Ukraine. We've united NATO, been instrumental in uniting NATO in ways that we haven't seen. Actually, NATO has expanded, and so I think that American leadership in this endeavor has been really, really important. I think that it's also, the supplemental is also important to us for our security as well. This supplemental invest in our industrial base. As you know, we don't provide funds to Ukraine. The Department of Defense doesn't. We provide materials in terms of weapons, vehicles, munitions, and all of those things are replaced by us, and the replacements are designed and built in our industry, and so that means good jobs, jobs for people in America. So if that supplemental was passed, and when it gets passed, some $50 billion or so would flow through some 30 states here in America, and I think that's really important. And again, the supplemental not only provides support for Ukraine, but it also for Taiwan.
Committee will stand in recess until the Capitol Police can restore order. Please instruct the Capitol Police to remove the disruption.
Lloyd, Austin, you're a liar. You lied to your nation about the genocide in West You're a liar. You lied to the American people about the genocide in West You're not fooling anyone.
So to sum it up, this supplemental is really important for a number of reasons. And again, it's important to us for our security as well. And it's really important that we have the ability to replenish the stocks in our inventory that will be critical for us going forward.
Ranking Member McCollum, you asked about my military assessment on Ukraine. And I'll just tell you that Ukraine right now is facing some dire battlefield conditions. And it's partly because their capability from a resourcing standpoint, from whether it's munitions, whether it's vehicles, whether it's platforms, they're not being outmatched by the Russians. They've had some Ukrainians have had some positive gains in the course of the 2+ years that they've been in this conflict, regaining more than 50% of the territory that the Russians seized at the beginning of the conflict. Those hard-fought gains can be lost without our support. And so it's important that we continue to provide them the capabilities that they require. And so when I think about this, I think about the supplemental does 3 things. One, it supports Ukraine's ability to defend itself. It shows, it puts money into our defense industrial base, not just for Ukraine, but for many of our allies and partners, because the U.S. equipment is valued around the world. And last, it shows U.S. leadership. I've been in this job 6 months, and I've had about 150 engagements with my counterparts from around the world. And they often talk about U.S. leadership. I can tell you it's wants, it's desired, and the actions we do are sending a message of where our commitments are, and it also sends a message to our adversaries. And I think it's important that we continue to show leadership like we've done throughout my entire career wearing this uniform, and I want to make sure that we do that.
Ranking Member, thank you. Well, the security assistance is, of course, the most urgent, time-sensitive part of the supplemental and cannot be replaced with anything in the base budget. You highlighted the lesser-known part is that the Secretary and the President, of course, can deploy forces quite legally where they choose to, and we've surged forces in Europe the entire fiscal year to date, Navy in particular, and CENTCOM the same way. We have incurred over $2 billion and counting of operational costs that if we can't get the supplemental, will have to be absorbed in the base budget. We would have to work with this committee and the other committees to try and reprogram funds, hopefully not from direct readiness, but from, if not that, readiness enabling things like facilities maintenance and equipment maintenance. So there is an impact on our forces and our readiness as well if we cannot get the supplemental approved.
Thank you. Mr. Cole.